welcome to Dolly Talk. This is Dolly. All right, how's everybody doing? Justin, thank you for bringing Jax up to my attention. That was charming, as usual. Brad, how you doing? Some folks call it a corn rake. I call it a corn dog. Sorry, I was trying to find a sound clip.
Or some folks call it a sling blade. I call it a kaiser blade. Kind of a long wood handle, kind of like an axe handle, with a long blade on it, shaped kind of like a banana. Sharp on one edge and dull on the other. Door.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And Corn Pop was...
So many references. All right, guys. Yesterday we were doing the Mullis trial in Iowa for this lovely little fella who was accused of unaliving his cheating whore of a wife. We started but have not finished. The Tristan Mullis, his son, was testifying, and last we heard he was going out. He was with his dad, and his mom was a little unsteady on the ladder, so she went off, and that's the last they supposedly saw him. Oh, hey, Wendy. How are you doing? Good to see you. No. It's just a coinky dink that she happened to die around the time he found out she was cheating on him.
Something like that.
So you actually saw your mom then leave the hog barn?
Yes.
What were you doing after your mom left the hog barn?
I continued her job.
And what was that?
Cleaning the light fixtures.
And what was your dad doing?
He was doing the same thing that he was doing just when we, before she left.
How long were you and your dad in the hog barn together after your mom left?
Probably about another hour and 30 minutes.
Now, while you were in this barn, you were still working?
Yes.
And your dad was doing his...
Hold on. Oh. Sorry, guys. I just had something pop up in the background.
job or working as well?
Yes.
At some point, did you lose sight of your dad?
Yes.
Do you know exactly how long your dad wasn't in your sight?
No.
The time that you didn't see your dad is all, you obviously didn't see your mother either.
Yes.
Narc.
You did not see your mom at that time? Sorry,
Yes.
that was confusing.
Yes.
While you were in the hog barn working for approximately that hour and a half, did you have a watch on?
No.
Did you have your phone with you?
No.
Was there a clock inside the hog barn that you were looking at the time?
No.
Bye, Franz. All right.
Tristan, would it be accurate to say that you don't know how much time you were away from your dad when you were working in the hog barn?
Yes.
Now, Tristan, you swore to tell the truth today, correct?
Yes.
And as Judge Bitter asked you, you know what that means.
Judge
Yes.
And you're
Bitter?
under oath right now.
Yes.
Now, did you also swear to tell the
Christine.
truth last week when you did a deposition to talk about these same things?
Yes.
And during that deposition, were you asked how long your dad was out of your sight?
Yes.
And during that deposition, you were also under oath.
Yes.
And during that deposition, you estimated that it was approximately,
Your
and
Honor,
May we approach?
Yes.
May I proceed, Judge?
Go ahead.
Tristan, during that deposition, you estimated that you were out of your dad's sight for approximately 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Yes.
Was that accurate when you gave that testimony?
No.
After the deposition, did you meet with your attorney and tell him that that was not accurate?
Yes.
And did you ask him to tell myself and the defense attorney that that time estimate was inaccurate?
Yes.
Now, Tristan, after approximately that hour and a half that you said you were working in the hog barn, did your dad
Damn it,
say
Timmy.
or tell you to do anything?
Yes.
What did he say to you?
He just said, since we did not see the pet carrier, or whatever you want to call it, in front of the shop or out on the in front of the barn, we just assumed that, maybe it was too heavy or she couldn't get it, or because she was on a weight restriction. So we just thought that, maybe it was just, one of those things where you just can't do it yourself. So he just told me to get it myself.
Now, let me just ask you a few questions, Tristan, about what you just said. You said your mom was on a weight restriction?
Yes.
And what do you mean by that?
It means since she had the surgery, as I earlier said, that she couldn't, she wasn't recommended to lift over 10 pounds, is what she told me.
Now, after you were working
How heavy is a corn rake now?
in the barn for approximately an hour and a half, did you and your dad had that conversation about how you didn't see the pet carrier by the shop?
Yes.
Where did that conversation with you and your dad take place?
There's an office, or it's like an office in the barn that we were working in, and it's where, all the paperwork for both barns go for, the pigs, the days, and stuff like that, and just a storage area.
Now, did your dad ask you to go and check the red shed?
Yeah.
And did he ask you to go look for your mom or to go look for the pet carrier?
Go look for the pet carrier.
Where did you go then?
I went to the barn.
And when you say barn, that's also the red shed?
Yes,
So
yes,
sometimes you guys call it the old red barn or the old shed.
yes.
Where was your dad when you went into the shed?
I'm sure it was quite red after that.
He was changing his boots that he had put on because they say it's wise to change boots so you don't spread disease throughout the barns. So we were both wearing different boots, and he had to fill out some paperwork.
Did you then walk to the red shed or red barn?
Yes.
At that point, was anybody else on the farm?
No.
Paperwork?
Where did you go then?
I went to the barn.
What did you see when you walked in?
My mom.
Jesus.
And where was your mom
Can't
at?
even own your own
She
farm
was
without
just
paperwork.
inside the door.
And what position was she in?
She was kind of on her hands and knees, face down.
What did you do?
Uh-oh.
I yelled for my dad.
Did you see anything that was protruding or sticking out of your mom's body?
Yes.
What did you see?
Corn rake.
And where was that at in relation to your mom's body?
In her center back, probably, somewhere around there.
At that point, was your mom responsive?
No.
Did you do anything to see if she was?
Yes.
What did you do?
I checked for a pulse on her neck and her arm, and I put my finger, or my index and my middle finger under her nose to see if she was, if there was breath.
Now, at that point, I think you indicated that's when you called for your dad.
Yes.
What happened then?
He started running over.
And what did your dad do?
He went in the barn, and he told me to go get the truck.
At that point, did you or your dad call 911?
Yes.
Right then you did?
No, not then, no.
When you say you went and got the truck, what do you mean? What did you actually do?
Went and got in the truck and drove it over to where they were.
And what was your dad doing then?
He was helping Mom out of the barn.
And how was he doing that?
He was had a hand over both of his shoulders, kind of like the Army carry.
And so, did you actually see your dad take the rake out of your mom?
Yes.
And you saw him pull it out?
Yes.
And then, is that when you saw him holding your mom like you just described?
Yes.
What did you do then after you pulled the truck up?
I got out of it and I saw her, and I got really like, I kind of got lightheaded, and then my dad just told me to snap out of it, and we got
Snap out of it.
I
She was
got
a
the
cheating
door
whore.
open for him, and I sat in the passenger seat, and she sat in my lap, and we drove off to the hospital.
So your dad then drove the car,
The truck, yes.
I'm sorry, the truck, and you were in the front passenger seat?
Yes.
And at that point, where was your mom?
She was on top of me.
And would it be
Phrasing,
fair to say,
sir.
was your mom bleeding?
Yes.
And your dad started driving?
Yes.
While your mom was on top of you and your dad was driving, at any point did you see your
Jesus.
mom become
What the hell's
responsible?
going on in these cornfields?
When your dad started driving,
can't
shortly
be
after he
serious.
started driving, did he do anything?
He called 911.
What happened then?
The operator told him to pull over, and so we pulled over in it was like an area where a house is being built, and nobody was there, so we just pulled over.
What happened after you guys pulled over?
We got her out of the car, and the operator, or the truck, I'm sorry, and the operator told us to give CPR.
And did
And-
your dad do that?
Yes.
Hey, factual lie.
Did police and an ambulance arrive?
Yes.
And what happened after they arrived?
They started doing chest compressions, and they loaded her into the ambulance and drove her off to the hospital.
Did anybody else other than the police and paramedics arrive where you guys were at on the side of the road?
Yes.
Who else came or showed up?
It was by sheer coincidence, but a few friends did.
Where did you go then after your mom got put in the ambulance?
We went back to my house.
When you say we, who were you
Oh, look, Tristan's over there. Hey, Tristan, what's up? Oh, is that your dead mom there? Well, that must have been awkward when your friend showed up.
with?
One of our friends.
And do you recall his name?
Yes.
What was his name?
Michael Krogman.
And is Michael Krogman a neighbor or a friend?
Yes.
And he actually drove you back to your house.
Yes.
Was it just the two of you in the car?
Yep, the truck, yes.
Sorry, the truck. When you got back, you drove in the truck with Mike Krogman. Did anybody else follow you back to your farm?
I don't remember.
At some point, did some police officers arrive?
Yes.
And did you speak with those officers?
Yes.
Did you show them the area where you found your mom?
Yes.
Now, this area where you found your mom, can you just describe it a little bit more, please?
There's a door. There's two sliding doors. There's chemical totes in there. There was an old wagon in there. It's kind of narrow,
Now, I apologize. The area where you found your mom, is that the same area where the pet carrier is?
Yeah, basically.
Well, you actually have to, where you found your mom is right, if I have this right when you walk in the doors, to your left is where your mom was.
Yes.
And your mom, you indicated, was on her hands and knees face down.
Yes.
And you would actually have to walk a little bit further and turn in order to see where the pet carrier is.
Yes.
Did you then talk with the police and indicate to them where you found your mom?
Yes.
Now, Tristan, after this happened, that day, you went to the hospital.
Yes.
And would it be fair to say that this was a very traumatic experience for you?
Yes.
You indicated earlier that you actually felt like you almost were going to pass out.
Okay, so he is not admitted to doing it. No. That's kind of one of the issues is during this trial in 2019, they claim that he says he doesn't know what happened. He claims somebody else did it. because apparently there's 4 prongs on the corn thing, but there's like 6 holes in her. Phrasing. So it's a little, it's like she would have had to have been stabbed twice. It couldn't have just been she fell on it, in theory. But now there's like more evidence in the mini trial to get a new trial. And now they've kind of gone away with the she was murdered theory by somebody else. And they're now saying that she was, it was an accident. Or he still doesn't know what happened, but he's saying it's like an accident now. But yeah, that was the whole like weird thing, is there was extra holes in her. Hey, Paul, how you doing? Glad you made it. Oh, half Irish. Glad you're here. I hope everything's going okay with you.
Oh, when you found your mom?
Yes.
And obviously, I mean, what were you feeling after you found your mom?
I just kind of freaked out, and I was, you know, my anxiety level was 0 to 100 in about a split second.
Fair.
Now, you spoke to police, or sheriff, that day at the hospital, right?
Yes.
And they asked you a little bit about what happened that day.
Yes.
And you told them at that time that you were with your dad the whole time.
Yes.
You also talked to Scott Rieger from the Department of Criminal Investigations. He came to your school a few days later and talked to you.
Yes.
And he also asked you if you were with your dad the whole time.
Yes.
And you said yes.
Yes.
And lastly, you also talked to a forensic interviewer at the Child Protection Services a couple months after this happened. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you also told that interviewer that you were with your dad the whole time.
Yes.
But what you're telling us today and what you told us at the deposition is that there was a period of time that you were not with your dad.
Yes.
Now, after this happened on November 10th, 2018, where were you living?
With my dad and my 2 siblings.
And were you living at home on your farm, or did you stay somewhere else for a little bit?
We stayed somewhere else for a little bit.
And who did you stay with?
My dad's parents.
And would that be your grandma and grandpa Mullis?
Yes.
And where do they live in relation to your farm?
About maybe a couple miles away.
Now, Tristan, I just want to go back a little bit and ask you a few more questions about the day that this happened. When you first found your mom, were you able to see your mom's face or her front side when you first found her?
No.
And in the area that your mom was found, what's in that specific area?
It's just like a walkway, and there's like chemical totes in there and a wagon that carries fertilizer.
Fertilizer.
Now,
I hope
at
he
any
wasn't
point on the
building
day that this
something.
happened on November 10th, 2018, did you ever see anybody other than your mom, your dad, and your brothers and sisters on the farm?
Yes.
Who else? I'm sorry, before this happened.
Oh, no.
You indicated a minute ago that at some point you saw other people.
When?
Did you I'll just rephrase my question, I apologize.
Jeez.
When you and your mom and your dad were out in the barn, at any point, did you see anybody else on the farm?
Oh, no.
Did you hear anybody else on the farm?
No.
After your mom went to get the pet carrier, did you hear anybody else on the farm?
No.
Did you see any trucks or hear anybody else on the farm?
Did you kill your mom?
And after you went home, after this happened, at that point there was some police and some other family members that came over.
Yeah.
What time do you think you worked outside until you found your mom? About what time?
Noon.
Now, Tristan, I want to ask you a little bit about when you were, prior to this happening, you would, did you have your own bedroom at the farm?
Yes.
Would you sleep in your bedroom?
No.
Why not?
Just because, it's downstairs, and it's kind of I'm the only room downstairs, and it just was kind of lonely, I guess. I just slept upstairs
And where would you sleep at your house?
in the living room.
Would you sleep on a couch?
Yes,
And would your dad generally also sleep in that same room?
yes,
And would that be on a separate couch?
yes.
And do you know why your dad slept on that couch?
Because like he had back problems, I know, and like there was a certain like inclinement that he would sleep in, and it would make it wouldn't hurt his back, and so he just kind of slept on that.
Yeah.
Now, did your dad have an iPad?
Yes,
And where would your dad keep that iPad?
there was like a little kind of a rectangular box kind of thing. It was like a gift that he had gotten, I think, and he would keep it in that beside the couch.
Now, let me back up a minute. Did you have any type of device at this time, back in November 2018 or around that time? Did you have a phone or an iPad?
Yes,
What did you have?
I had a phone, and I had a Kindle or whatever you want to call it.
And did Taylor or Wyatt have
Did your father use the iPad for farmersonlymeat.com?
any type of devices?
Yes,
What did they have?
Taylor had a cell phone as well, and they both had a Kindle.
And what if anything, did your mom have, like,
If
type of
anything,
device?
Really?
She had a cell phone. She had a Kindle as well.
And was there a family laptop or computer that you all used?
Yes.
And where was that device was it a laptop?
Yeah.
Where was that usually kept?
It was generally kept kind of next to a door that led out to the deck, but
Hey, Maddie.
it was kind of in the kitchen vicinity.
And it generally stayed in the kitchen area?
Yes.
Now, this iPad that was your dad's, where did you see your dad use it at?
On the couch.
And would your dad also sometimes take that when he was in the field or in the tractor or to use it around the farm?
Yes.
And was there a code to get into this iPad?
Yes.
Are you aware of what that password was?
Yes.
Did you yourself ever use that iPad?
Yes.
When did you use that iPad?
Maybe like once, I think, to look up something for Dad, or I think one of those. I can't remember, but I know I did use it a couple of times, but it was just to look up stuff.
Now, during your deposition last week, you were asked if you ever used that iPad, correct?
Yes.
And during that deposition, you said you never used it,
Yes.
but today you're saying that you have used it?
Yes.
And do you recall when that was?
No.
Do you know what year it was?
2018.
Did you ever see your mom use that iPad?
No.
Did you ever see Taylor use that iPad?
No.
Did you ever see Wyatt use that iPad?
No.
Now, Tristan, did you know kind of a lot about your mom and dad's relationship?
Yeah.
Were you aware that approximately 5 years ago that your mother had an affair?
Yes.
And how did you become aware of that information?
I heard a conversation between my parents, and I heard my mom say that, yes, I had an affair.
And then several years later, a couple months
A
before your
dirty
mother's
woman.
death, did you ever, well, let me say, in about the summer to fall of 2018, before your mother's death, do you remember a time when you came home from school and your mom was really upset?
Yes.
Do you remember specifically when that was?
I can give you an estimate. It was probably August, late August.
You remember you were in school.
Yes.
And when you came home, what did you observe about your mother?
She was just kind of upset, and she was just upset.
And did she do anything with you? Did she hug you or kiss you?
Yeah.
And then that same day, did you go outside?
Yes.
And did you then have a conversation with your dad?
Yes.
Was it anybody besides you and your dad that day?
No.
And what, if anything, did your dad say to you during that conversation?
Your mom's a
He
cheating
just said
whore.
that, Mom was upset today and we got in an argument and it was just about what was going on and she just kind of got upset about it.
Well, when you say what was going on, your dad actually told you that your mom was talking to another man
Yes.
during that conversation.
Yes.
And Tristan, was there another time that you were also with your dad around this same time where he was talking to you about his relationship with your mother?
Yes.
And what were you and your dad doing at that time?
I don't remember.
Do you remember saying in your deposition that you were burning something, or that your dad might have been
yes.
burning something?
Yes. Yes.
Do you know what your dad was burning?
It's trash.
And what did your dad say to you during that conversation?
He just said that, have you noticed anything with Mom? Is she getting grumpy, or is she upset with you guys? Is she, is she like texting a lot?
So you talked about your mom and dad's relationship.
Yes.
Now, after this happened on November 10th, 2018, after you learned about your mom's passing, did you
Yes.
ever go out to the red shed yourself?
Yes.
And for what purpose did you go out there?
I just wanted to see what happened.
And how many times would you say you went out there?
2-3 times.
Now, Tristan, you said earlier that you're staying currently with your grandma and grandpa in Ankeny,
Yes.
and that's your mom's mother and
Stepdad.
stepdad, right?
Yes.
Have you ever talked to them about the facts from this day?
No.
And did they tell you, or did anybody else in your mom's family tell you what to say today?
No.
And in fact, after you hired an attorney, your attorney told you not to talk to anybody about this other than when you're testifying.
Yes.
Tristan, at any point on November 10th, 2018, prior to you finding your mother, did you see Taylor and Wyatt outside?
No.
So you saw nobody else outside but you, your mom, and your dad.
Yes.
And Tristan, did you do anything to hurt your mom that day?
No.
You were never with your mom in the red shed until you actually found her.
Yes.
Can I just have a moment, Judge?
Yes.
I have nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Firehelm, go ahead.
Mr. Firehelm. Now that's a good name.
Your Honor, I know it's only 11:35, but with some of the changes we've heard about during this testimony and the fact that we're split up from Mr. Sabers, I think I could do it much more efficient time-wise if I had a chance to review notes and talk to him and get these exhibits lined up.
You want to take a lunch break now?
I think it would be less confusing and more productive if we did that.
Okay, we can do that. Typically, we break for lunch around noon. It's 25 minutes to 12. So, folks, we'll take our lunch break at this point in time. Remember the admonition I've given you before. Same rules apply. Keep an open mind and don't draw any conclusions. We'll take until about 12:45. We'll give you about an hour and 10 minutes for lunch. Report back to the jury room. Okay?
All right, jury.
Okay, Mr. Firehelm, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Tristan.
Good afternoon, Jake.
Jake.
Tristan, Ms. Hughes asked you a few questions about involvement that you had in the farming operation with your dad and mom and actually with your siblings. Had you reached a point where you would be responsible enough to go out and do farm work with a tractor on your own?
Yes.
And did sometimes you do work for your Uncle Mike?
Yes.
She asked you about some activities that you did with your dad, and I'm not going to ask you to just repeat those, but typical things of hunting, fishing, that kind of thing. You mentioned homeschooling. Was that your dad's idea, your mom's idea, or both, or do you remember?
It was probably both.
And then I too, like Ms. Hughes did, I'm going to jump right to November 10th, okay?
Yep.
When you went over to the other place to do the chores there, was there any discussion or comments made by Todd about the possibility of doing some field work that day?
Yeah.
Field
What was
work.
that?
He just said that he would have to hear back from my cousin, because the ground, he didn't know if the ground was frozen.
Has your cousin been doing some, what I call chisel plowing the day before?
Yeah.
Okay. And why was that not continued then again on that Saturday, if you know?
Because the ground was probably frozen.
Okay.
Enough
So
lubricant.
that trip involved just getting chores done only?
Yes.
Okay. You said you went back to the house, and if I understood your testimony correctly, your mom had already prepared a breakfast, but was now engaged in doing a puzzle?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what your brother and sister were doing?
Maybe watching a movie or something.
Okay.
You know.
How did the conversation or topic begin about going out to do work in one of the hog barns?
Well, we got the call from my cousin saying the ground was frozen about the time we walked in the door. And so we started eating, and Dad just said that, you know, the ground's frozen, it's not going to be a good day. We don't want nothing getting broken on the plow. Why don't we just do this today?
And when he said, let's do this, you knew what you'd planned to do?
Well, he said, let's get the barns ready.
Okay. Had you getting the barns ready, was that something you'd helped your dad with before?
Yes.
Okay. And I think you told Ms. Hughes that you guessed or estimate that you went out to the barns around 9:30.
Yes.
And if you recall, was this a situation where you or Todd, your dad, asked your mom to come along, or did she ask to come along? Did she want?
She asked to come along.
Okay. And this is a few days after she had had this medical procedure done.
Yes.
Had she been kind of taking it easy there in the house during those few days?
Yes.
Tristan, I'm going to ask Mr. Sabers to present to you Defendant's Exhibit J.
Yep.
Do you see it?
Yes.
Can you describe to the jury what Exhibit J represents or depicts?
I see the front of our hog barn.
Was that the barn you were working in on November 10th?
Yes.
And I'll ask you to look to the very right edge of that photograph. What do you see there partially?
The other barn, I see some bins and a door.
Okay. And there's a door higher up in the middle. What's that represent?
That is to the office of the barn.
What I'm asking you to look at is there in the middle, high off the ground, it looks like a door.
Oh, sorry. That is a chute door. So basically, when the semis back up, that is a door that the pigs walk through. and when you don't need it, there's a door that, seals it.
Okay. So if you were going to load pigs into a truck, that's where they'd come out?
Yes.
Okay. And on the side of the building to the left of that service door,
Yeah.
there's a sign, it looks like it says Mullis Hogs?
Yes.
Okay. And there's a window also there,
Yes.
and is that into what you called the office?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I publish Exhibit J, or first I'd move to introduce Exhibit J and publish it to the jury.
Any objection to introducing Jay into evidence?
The already spoken about objections, Judge, that we will just maintain for all of these photos.
Okay, Jay is admitted into evidence. Go ahead, you can publish.
Ooh, look at all those fancy books.
Can I say something about the exhibits?
Tristan,
Yes.
when you and your dad and then your mom joined you, when you went into the barn that we just saw in Exhibit J, would you have gone in that service door on the very right side there?
Yes.
Okay. I'd ask you to take a look at Exhibit I, please.
Okay.
Tell us what the photograph Exhibit I shows us.
The office of the barn.
Okay. So would I be correct that if you walked in that door of Exhibit J, that's where you would be?
Yes.
Okay. And that window that you pointed out in Exhibit J, when we're looking at I, that's that window to the right.
Yes.
And there's also a window to the left. Where would that, if I was looking through that window, what would I be seeing?
The entire barn, like the inside of the pins and stuff.
Here I would offer Exhibit I and ask permission to publish.
Other than the previous objections, any objection to I?
No, Your Honor.
I is admitted. Go ahead, you can publish.
Tristan, I'd like to have you take a look at Defendant's Exhibit AA.
Okay.
What is that showing us?
Kind of a layout of the driveway and the farm.
Okay. If you were to place the person taking that photograph, where would they be in relation to the barn that we just talked about?
They would be basically they would be on like just coming out of the door.
That's that service door we just talked about.
Yes.
Right. And I understand that where the events we're talking about happened in November, so there wouldn't be that nice green trees, but is the red barn or shed that we've talked about, is that what shows there between the tree limbs?
Yes.
And that's where you found your mom?
Yes.
Defendant would offer Defendant's Exhibit AA and ask to publish.
AA is admitted. Go ahead, you can publish.
Tristan, when you and your dad got in the barn, what did you set out to do then?
We were gonna prepare the barn for the new baby pigs coming in.
And what specifically did you do?
There was these heaters that needed to be carried throughout the barn, and that's what I did.
And where were these heaters located?
They were in like a separate area. So when you walk out of the office and into the chute, there was a gate, and then there was the storage area where we kept the heaters in.
Okay. Tristan, I'm going to take an exhibit out of order and ask you to take a look at Q.
All right.
Trust the plan, Taylor.
Single or double?
Single.
All right.
What's that photo show us?
That's where the heaters would have been.
So you're telling us that that's where you'd go retrieve them and then take them out into the barn and put them by the respective pens?
Yes.
And this is not the office, but a separate area up there at the end of the barn?
Yes.
Your Honor, it offers...
It's at the same end of the barn, but it's just across the chute.
Okay. Offer Exhibit Q, Your Honor, Defendant's Exhibit Q, and ask to publish.
Q is admitted. You may publish.
Tristan, while you were retrieving those heaters and taking them out to the pens, what was your dad doing?
He was taking down these bars that would imitate a sow, and so what that would do is give the pigs, basically it would wean them.
And where were these bars stored or located?
They were connected to a hose that would have been connected to a water line, but they were in the pen. Like, they never left the pen.
Okay. Were they down on the floor, on the fence?
They were on this. They were on the ceiling.
So your dad would have to remove them from the ceiling and put them down in place?
Yes.
And these, I think you told us in earlier conversations that you referred to them as nipple bars,
Yes.
meaning they were used to wean the little pigs off their mothers.
Yes.
Okay. And ask you to take a look at the exhibit labeled as triple R, RRR.
Okay.
What's that show us?
The office from a different perspective.
All right. Am I correct that that would be, if I was walking in that service door looking straight ahead, that's what I'd see?
Yes.
The window to your left would be looking towards the house,
Yes.
and the window to the right, as we talked about before, looks into the big main part of the hog barn.
Yes.
What's that door straight ahead lead to?
That would be to the chute, which would lead you into the actual barn or where the heaters were.
Okay. Your Honor, offer triple R and ask to publish.
RRR is admitted. You may publish.
Tristan, please take a look at Exhibit X, Defendant's Exhibit X. Tell the jury, please, what that shows.
That shows the window looking into the hog barn.
And obviously, this was not taken the same day. There were no pigs in the barn on November 10th.
Yes.
And, well, strike that. Offer exhibit, Defendant's Exhibit X, and ask to publish.
X is admitted, and you may publish.
Tristan, I apologize for how long it takes to show these pictures to each juror, let them each look at it. But we had some equipment that was not available that would allow them to all look at it at the same time. So just so you understand.
Yeah, you're fine.
Oh,
Just a few more here. Tristan, would you please look at Exhibit T?
Okay.
Tell the jury, please, what that shows us.
That would be the office leading into the hog barn.
And am I correct, Tristan, that to the left, or excuse me, to the right, there's a blue barrel sitting on the
the
floor?
left, to the
That
left,
would be
to
in the
the left.
office area.
Yes.
And that hallway is going down into the main part of the hog barn.
Witness.
Yes.
Would I also be correct that if I was taking that photograph, I'd be standing pretty much where that chute goes out to load hogs.
Yeah, you'd be on the incline of the chute.
Okay. Your Honor, offer defendant's exhibit 10 and ask to publish.
Is it T, or excuse me, T? T is admitted and you may publish.
Tristan, in earlier testimony, we talked about while you were doing your job of getting those heaters out, that there may have been times when you stopped to get a drink of water. Remember that?
Yes.
Is that still your testimony, that you did get a drink of water at some point during these chores?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to take a look at defendant's exhibit O. Tell the jury what that shows us.
That shows the hose that you would drink out of.
All right.
He drinks out of a
And
hose.
is that where you got a drink that day?
Yes.
Did you do it on more than one occasion?
Yes.
How many times do you think?
Isn't that bad for
2.
you?
Okay. And those hoses that we're looking at in Exhibit O are in the office area.
Yes.
Right. Matter of fact, that blue barrel sitting there we talked about in the earlier exhibit, right?
Yes.
Okay. Offer defendant's exhibit O and ask to publish.
O is admitted, you may publish.
Tristan, look at exhibit N as in Nancy.
All right.
Please tell the jury what we're looking at.
You're looking at the, you're basically in the hog barn right now. You're in where the pens are and where the pigs and stuff.
And I call your attention to the ceiling of the barn. Are those the light fixtures that you talked about your mom cleaning that day?
Yes.
Okay. And describe how, if you would, the method and physically how she went about doing that.
Well, she had 2 buckets in her hand, and one had water, and one was to stand on. And what she did is she just took the bucket and, she stood on it, and it's a screw on, so you'd have to screw it off. And then she would put like 3 in the bucket with the soapy water. And then she would just take a rag or a scrub brush or something, and she'd wipe it down, clean all the stuff off, and then she'd let it, dry out a little bit, and then she'd take some paper napkins and just wipe the inside of it.
And do you have any estimate at all of how many she finished that day before she quit doing that?
Before she, died.
No.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd offer defendant's exhibit N and ask to publish.
N is admitted and you may publish.
Just a couple more, Tristan, and just so Mr. Sabers understand, I'm skipping a couple. Please look at defendant's exhibit QQ.
It's going to be awkward when they get to defendant's KKK.
Please describe to the jury what we're looking at here.
You are in the back of the barn, and you'd be looking down the the space in between the 2 barns.
And those grain bins that we see almost in the center, those are up by that service door that goes into the office, right?
Yes.
Over by that tree to the left of the bins, that's where the red shed would be.
Yes.
Tristan, are there any doors on the sides of this long building?
No.
Is there a door at the very end?
Yes.
And that would be in the middle?
Yeah.
So from those earlier photos, if we walked down that walkway between the pins and just kept going straight, there'd be a service door way down there at the end of the barn.
Yes.
Okay. But that would be the only way to get out of the barn other than the service door up in the office.
Yes.
Offer Exhibit QQ and ask to publish.
QQ is admitted, and you may publish.
Tristan, now that we've kind of given the layout and got the jury hopefully a mind's eye picture of the barns and how it's laid out,
Thanks for doing that for the viewers.
I think we
also.
left off really in asking you questions that you were carrying the heaters down, your mom was cleaning those light globes, and your dad was putting those nipple bars down. Is that pretty accurate?
Yes.
I was going to say nipple clamps. They get
Ms.
freaky in
Hughes,
Iowa.
then ask you if at some point did a concern develop over your mom's physical condition?
Yes.
And tell us again, what was that concern, or what was your awareness of it?
That she was bleeding is what she told us, and that she was getting dizzy is what she told us.
And did you personally respond to your mom, or was it your dad?
I did. We both did.
And saying what?
I told her first. I think I remember saying, you know, are you all right? Do you need help cleaning them? And then Dad kind of asked the same thing.
And how did your mom respond, if you remember?
She just said, no, I'm fine.
And continued on?
Yes.
And I don't know if this is fair or not, but do you have an estimate of how long she had been working at cleaning these globes before this observation or concern about her physical health occurred?
Probably about 30, 45 minutes, somewhere around there.
Okay? But after that initial concern and discussion, she continued to do more globes.
Yes.
Was there another indication or concern about her health?
Yes.
What did you see or hear that indicated that?
She kind of she got really shaky all of a sudden. She just, she just said that, I'm getting dizzy, it's getting kind of bad. And, she just kind of was trying to focus or something.
Okay. And what did either you or your dad say to her in that regard?
I think I asked him, are you, seriously, are you okay? Do you need to, are you okay, basically, is what I just said.
And how was she responding to those concerns?
She was kind of breathing kind of heavy, and she just said, I'm fine, I can do a few more, and then I'll go in the house.
Did your dad say anything to her about going to the house?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Well, she just said that she wanted to finish this barn up and then go in the house. Sorry about that. But then he said, why don't you just go in the house now and we can finish this up?
Right. Did she finally concede and agree to go?
Yes.
Right. Were you all three out in the barn doing these different duties when that discussion was taking place?
Yes.
And when she left to go, was it your understanding that she was going directly to the house?
No.
Okay, tell us about that. How did that come about?
Well, when she said that, she just wanted to finish this barn and then she'd go in the house, we were concerned about her and we just wanted her to be safe. And so we just said, you know what, if you can get the pet carrier for us, it'd be really helpful. We understand that you want to help out, but, we just don't want you getting hurt.
Okay. So if I understand this pet carrier thing is that there was a litter of kittens up in the shop?
Yes.
And had the mother been killed somehow, run over?
I think she got sick by poison or something.
Okay. And I believe you told us before that because of equipment going in and out of the shop, there was a concern about running over these kittens that were running loose in there.
Yes.
So So when your mom left the hog barn, it was your understanding she was going to go to the shed to get that pet carrier.
Yes.
Did you watch her go?
Yes.
Where was she physically the last time you saw her?
She was just walking out of the barn I saw her through the window of the office, and that's probably the last time I saw her.
Okay. And did you then go back in the barn and continue with your other work there?
Yes.
And your dad was still in the barn?
Yes.
You said you got a drink of water or did it a couple times, right?
Yes.
And that would have been walking from the barn into that office area and getting a drink out of the hose.
Yes.
Did you, from the time that your mom left until the time you found her in the shed, did you leave the hog barn?
No.
Did you go anywhere else other than to get drinks?
No.
Okay. And because of the wall between the office and the hog barn area itself, you would not have been in your dad's sight and he not in yours while you were getting the drinks, right?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Hughes asked you if the time frame that you gave earlier when we talked to you was correct. And I think you said maybe a minute and 45 seconds all total you would have been out in the office getting a drink.
Yes.
And apparently you're saying that amount of time is wrong.
Yes.
Do you have an estimate of time?
No.
None at all.
No.
Would your actions of leaving the barn and going out and getting the drink of water and returning to the barn, did you do any other activities other than turn the faucet on, take a drink, turn it off, and go back?
No.
Okay. I believe you estimated the amount of time after your mom had left the hog barn until you went to look for her was about an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Before you went to look for her, had you and/or your dad looked out the window of the office to see if the pet carrier was up by the shop?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to take a look at Exhibit W.
Okay.
Tell the jury what W shows us.
It shows you looking out of that window that's in the office, and it's basically what you would see if you would look out of it.
Okay. And did you and your dad expect to see the pet carrier up there by the open door of the shop?
Yes.
That's what you thought your mom was going to take it.
Yes.
And off to the left, you can just barely see, it looks like the tail end of a pickup. Is that the garage on the house?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would offer Defendant's Exhibit W and ask to publish.
W is admitted, and you may publish.
Tristan, next thing I want to jump to is after you and your dad left the farm with your mom in the pickup, you met the ambulances and the deputies, and I believe you indicated that you returned to the farm with Michael Krogman. Is that correct?
Yes.
Later on at the hospital, I believe it might have been Deputy Thompson, perhaps, that came and talked to you about kind of what happened, or tell me what happened.
Yes.
And then later on, you were questioned by.
Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
Oh God, I've got a teenager.
Uh-huh. No fun?
Christ. She's not a teenager yet. She's like 3 weeks off. My
Aw.
God.
Can't be that bad.
You have no fucking idea.
So, have you been listening?
I was until she chucked a mental, and so that was about, I don't know, 25 minutes ago. So it's Cross. Cross had just started, and then she chucked a mental.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still going, so
So has anything happened, really?
not really.
Okay.
Just trying to get time frames down. The kid isn't really sure. Doesn't know how long he went to, how long it took to get a drink of water or stuff like that.
Okay. So I just want to ask you, actually, Ilya, do you have a chapter of the RCJs in Meza?
No, I don't. That I know of. I mean, I could. I don't know.
Oh, you don't know.
Well, I haven't searched for it, so.
Right. Is there a Meza City Jax?
I plead the fifth. I'm a
Guys.
founder.
You're a founding member. He's not only a member, he's a founder. Okay, so Justin Smith put this thing on our Discord, and if you're not a member, you need to be, because this is where all the stupid jokes come from, right? So, and it's not a joke. This is real.
Well,
So in Washington, WA, Washington, right? Washington, there is this club called the Rain City Jacks.
yeah.
And it's a group, and this was the Doge has outed this group because they're going to lose their funding.
Sadly.
Americans have been paying for this group. It's where grown men get together and because that's what they call the
They get
Jacks.
together and do jobs with their hands. They work with their hands.
They work with their hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sexual exploration.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they only
And that
got
was in-
60,000.
$60,000 of taxpayer money for men to go jack off together.
Correct.
Yep.
Good times. Wait, that was perhaps the wrong word to say after that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You get what I mean.
They were having good times. They were having good times. So, just so you know, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And what I've been talking about in chat all morning or all evening or whatever it is for you guys.
Yeah. Although
And-
50,000 of that money they got at the grant went to investing in some high quality floor cleaner.
Imagine all the DNA. It's like a tennis match.
Oh darn, I left that in the other room.
It's mad. I just have to say, suck it that you guys were paying for that.
Yeah.
Were. And I'm hoping no sucking it was going on in there.
No,
It was
it's a
purely
classy joint.
heterosexual.
Yeah.
It's very manly.
Well, it's for men
Anyway,
or women who want to go
Oh.
and give hand jobs to each other.
I bet they would have loved it if a woman turned up, but that never happened. That was just,
Well, I think it did one time, but it
Oh,
turned
did
out to
it?
be a man.
oh, oops.
You got me.
That was Roger.
Almost. You almost had me.
You almost.
I'll get you one of these days.
Oh, well, lucky we had that clause in there.
Yeah.
Well, it's very liberal, and so we allow all genders.
Yes.
Otherwise, we can't get our funding.
Exactly.
Anyway, sorry,
Oh, that's fine.
Rain City Jacks.
Yes.
A DCI agent, I think that was at school, right?
Yes.
And finally, at this interview center at, I believe, St. Luke's Hospital.
Yes.
And Ms. Hughes asked you if it was true that each time you said that you and your dad were never apart in the barn. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's what you told him.
I'll send it
Yes.
to Mark Jensen.
But today you're saying that there was some physical separation as you got those 2 drinks of water,
2 now.
but no other times. You didn't leave the building.
No.
And if your dad would have left the building, would he have had to come by you and through the
Please don't
office
say
to get
come,
out?
sir.
Yes.
Unless he went out that back door and would have had to come up alongside that long building that was shown in one of the exhibits, right?
Yes.
After your mom left and before you went and found her, and the time that you would have spent with your dad, did you ever see him with torn clothes, blood on his hands, emotionally distraught or anything like that?
No.
Breathing heavy.
That's the RCJs.
With a look that he just killed his cheating, horrible wife.
And today, I'm going to jump around a little bit now. You said that you do recall now that at least once you've used your dad's iPad.
Yes.
And you remember, maybe you said in direct testimony what that was for?
Yes.
Do you remember what it?
No, probably I was looking something up for him or showing him something.
Okay. And then you were asked about your mom and dad's relationship and your awareness of some relationship that your mom had outside the marriage some years ago, right?
Yes.
And you said you were aware of that because you heard your parents talking about it.
Yes.
And that was a long time ago.
Yes.
But at least you were back in school in August of 2018, your mom seemed upset about this topic again. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yes.
After your mom seemed upset, I think you described it as she gave you a hug and a kiss and that kind of thing. I believe you said you went outside and went with, eventually hooked up with your father, right?
Yes.
And that was where? In the shop?
Yes.
All right. Do you know what your dad was doing at the time?
Probably he was working on the planner because we had just gotten a new planner and it needed a lot of work, and I think he was working on that.
So if we found some receipts that a new planner was purchased in August 17th of 2018, does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
So that new planner was bought, but it needed things put on it, that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay. So this situation involving your mom being upset is probably happening there around the end of August, 1st of September? That'd be fair? Okay.
Yes.
But also, she asked you some questions about, and I think this happened earlier in the summer, about burning trash and seeing your dad saying something or seeing something?
No.
Tell me, I misunderstood then.
I didn't understand the question correctly.
Okay. Well, I wrote down in my notes that that you and your dad may have been burning trash.
Yes.
And do you remember about when that would have happened?
Middle of July, late July, something like that.
Where would you go to burn trash?
It's kind of in between our place and the other
Oh,
hog
God, he's
barns.
burning something.
It was like an old, it's like, I don't know, it's on a road and there's like a hill that leads up to it, and it's just an old pasture-like area that was, abandoned, and we bought it when we bought the land, and, it was not good for farming, so we just decided to burn trash there.
Okay. Was, at that time, mid-July, thereabouts, was there any discussion or back and forth between your dad that would relate to his and your mom's relationship?
Yes.
What was it?
You
It was, we were talking about,
Beautiful.
was she acting weird? Was she, was she getting upset a lot? Was she doing, was she texting a lot? Was she doing, just stuff the way she was acting was kind of funny, so we just talked about it.
Did he specifically say, hey, I think your mom's having an affair?
No.
Okay. Just concerned about her, the way she was behaving.
Yes.
Okay. Later in the fall, we've heard testimony that your mom's grandmother passed away
Yes.
and her uncle had a serious health issue, and I think he passed away, right?
No, he had we call it a brain bleed, but his brain something was wrong with his head, and he survived.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I think somebody said he went on with life after he was hospitalized.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He went on with life after
But
he was
did both of those
hospitalized?
things take your mom away from the home for substantial
That's a weird
times?
way to say it.
Yes.
Okay. Did you and your brother and sister go with her each of those times?
No.
When she was gone and the three of you were home, I assume your dad was kind of in charge.
Yes.
And this would have been, I think, in September, maybe gone into October.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on the farm during those months?
September. I think that last
Mom's
year
doing
we
the
were
hog guy.
butchering chickens
Okay.
because we raise meat birds, and around the time that my great-grandmother, her grandma died, we were butchering chickens, I think, at that time. And around the time of her uncle's incident, I don't think we were doing much because it was raining and we couldn't get in the field.
So other than bad weather, you would have been in the field?
I don't know. I don't think so, but,
All right. When mom was away and you and your brother and sister were at home, obviously you were old enough, you didn't need a babysitter, right?
no.
Did you consider either your brother or sister needing someone to watch them? In other words, they just couldn't be left on their own all day long?
No, they could be left on their own all day long.
Okay.
I mean, Taylor knew how to cook. She knew how to cook, and they could keep themselves entertained.
Okay. Did they ever, to your knowledge, go out and like ride in the combine with your dad when he was harvesting?
Yes.
Okay. Other than the time when you were burning trash, did your dad ever have any other conversations with you about where he expressed concern about how your mom was acting, her personality or anything like that?
Yes.
And when would that have been?
That was when, in August, when she was upset that one day.
Okay. Any other times you can recall?
No.
Okay. Just hang on just a second, Tristan.
All right.
Thank you, Tristan. That's all the questions I have. Ms. Hughes may have some more.
All right.
Go ahead, counsel.
Tristan, can you do me a favor and look at W again? I think it's one of the ones that Jake had you look at.
Yes.
When you're looking at Defendant's Exhibit W, that's the window that you described.
Yes.
And you're looking in it, you can see out that window and it's a red, it looks like a red barn.
It's a red and white barn.
And what do you call that red and white barn?
The shop is what we call it.
That's not the actual red shed or old barn that you found your mom in.
No.
Because from that window, you can't see the red shed where you found your mom's body.
Not from that angle.
And can you also please look at AA?
Give me a second here. Okay.
And that is actually an AA. That is the red shed that you found your mom in.
Yes.
And when the defense attorney asked you, where somebody would have been taking this picture from, you indicated they would have stepped out of the hog barn, and that's when they would have taken it.
Yes.
So this angle is not from inside the office or the hog barn where you were doing that work.
No.
Thank you. Now, Tristan, the defense attorney also asked you about using that iPad of your dad's, and you indicated that there was a time now that you remember you might have searched something or looked something up.
Yes.
As you sit here today, do you remember exactly what you looked up?
No.
Did you look up on that iPad killing unfaithful women?
No.
Did you look up what happened to cheating spouses in historic Aztec tribes?
No.
Did you ever visit a site which indicated the punishment for killing a cheating wife?
No.
Did you ever look up, did ancient cultures kill adulterers?
No.
And did you ever look up the characteristics of a cheating woman?
No.
Well, who did?
Now, Tristan, just so that we're clear, because I know that there was a ton of questions about the different statements that you've
What?
You
given.
can't leave then.
How? I was listening. I just stopped there like 30 seconds ago.
You missed the spicy bit
30 seconds ago?
just now. The Google searches.
Oh. Fine.
Fine.
Sorry, I had a tinkle.
TMI.
Even Babu didn't like that. Okay.
Aztec tribes?
No.
Did you ever
Oh.
visit a... You remember exactly what you looked up?
No.
Hog barn where you were doing that work.
No.
Using that iPad of your dad's, and you indicated that there was a time now that you remember you might have searched something or looked something up.
Yes.
As you sit here today, do you remember exactly what you looked up?
No.
Did you look up on that iPad killing unfaithful women?
No.
Did you look up what happened to cheating spouses in historic Aztec tribes?
No.
Did you ever visit a site which indicated the punishment for killing a cheating wife?
No.
Did you ever look up, did ancient cultures kill adulterers?
No.
And did you ever look up the characteristics of a cheating woman?
No.
Now, Tristan, just so that
Well,
we're
who
clear, because I
did?
know that there was a ton of questions about the different statements that you've given. When you first talked to police in this case, both the day that this happened and at school, you indicated that you were with your dad the entire time after your mom left the hog barn.
Yes.
In your deposition last week, you changed that that testimony or that information and indicated that there was a
And he had
period of
old
time
diapers.
you were away from dad.
Yes.
And initially,
Actually,
in that
don't.
I'm not disclosing my fetish. Thank you.
Oh, God. Okay, gross. Also, I don't want you to be on stream and streaming.
I can stream while I stream.
Please don't. Imagine that. Imagine if you're just like, yeah.
So, guys,
So.
deposition, you initially said it was probably 30 seconds a couple times.
Yes.
Then, in that same deposition, you went on and continued to explain that, well, maybe it was more time. Probably combined, it was an hour and 40 seconds.
A minute and 45 seconds.
I'm sorry, a minute and
Wow,
40
you
seconds.
sneaky
I
little-
apologize. That's what then you said towards the end of the deposition.
Yes.
Now, did you meet with your attorney right after that deposition?
Yes.
And that's when you indicated to your attorney that you would like that information regarding the timing was inaccurate.
Yes.
And do you know, did you ask your attorney to tell myself and the defense attorney that?
Yes.
And as you sit here today, do you know how much time you were away from your dad in that hour and a half in the hog barn?
No.
As you indicated earlier, were you wearing a watch?
No.
Were you paying attention to the time?
No.
Tristan, was this entire day a traumatic day for you?
Yes.
You obviously found your mom when she was unresponsive.
Yes.
You then got into the truck and your dad placed your mom's body on top of yours.
Yes.
And in fact, you had your mom's blood all over you after she was taken out of the car.
Yes.
Tristan, do you want to be here testifying today?
No.
Did
I
you
love
want to
it.
testify in the deposition?
No.
Is this a very difficult thing for you to talk about?
Yes.
Tristan, before this happened, you and your dad were really close, correct?
Yes.
You spent a lot of time together.
Yes.
And after this happened, you spent a lot of time with your dad.
Yes.
And you don't want anything bad to happen to your dad.
No.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
I just have a few more questions, Tristan. Your dad is the one that told your mom to get the pet carrier and put it by the shop, correct?
He didn't specifically tell her to. He asked her if he would.
I'm sorry, he asked her if she would do that.
Yes.
And your dad, after the hour and a half was up, he didn't
That was a
ask you to
bit
go in the
inappropriate.
house to check for your mom.
No.
He asked you to go to the
Have
red
you met me?
shed to check on your mom.
He asked if he asked.
Speaking
to
of
go
inappropriate,
check on her,
can you
'cause,
pause for a sec?
maybe we thought.
You know Drake?
Yeah.
Because that just reminded me of Drake because, you know, there's a minor testifying. Um, so he was in my city, right? He was supposed to be doing concerts, and he just all of a sudden went, yeah, nah, I don't feel like that. And he cancelled a bunch of his concerts and just fucked off, got in his private jet, and went, and just cancelled.
Wow.
And he's on his way back to Canada. Yeah.
Suffer Australians.
Well, like there's all sorts of talk about whether or not, you know, he's headed back there because of his legal troubles.
Ew.
But yeah, it just, and then there's all of these like little girls here who like go to his concerts who are like, oh no, Drake, oh, we don't get to see Drake. But yeah, yeah, Drake was here. He was
Wow.
like, he was right here, and then he just was like, I gotta go. I gotta go. He said, fuck this continent. No, I think he's safer here than on your continent,
True.
right? He'd be better off staying here.
Well, you can't get a sunburn, so
True.
just saying.
But I mean, isn't he in like a lot of trouble
I think
over there?
Isn't that Diddy?
Drake's also in a lot of trouble, isn't
Is
he?
he?
Yeah.
Are we just
Isn't he like
confusing
implicated in the Diddy stuff?
Are we confusing random black people?
No.
Oh no,
Drake's like-
no. You're right. Okay. Oh, but don't worry, Drake. He unfollowed LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan on Instagram,
So
so I think he's safe now.
Drake's implicated in a lot of relationships with underage girls.
Oh, he's a rapper, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, he's a total
mean-
PDF. Maddie says, yeah.
I mean,
Totes PDF. Yup.
they're only
That's
second
why.
to
That's why
politicians.
Kendrick was Lamar Kendrick was like, "Hey Drake, I hear you like him young."
Huh?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, but I don't pay attention to any of this stuff. So
You're an American. Everyone knows about that stuff, don't they?
I'm
Hey,
like
Drake.
the
I
widest.
think, and it's probably a minor.
A minor. Maybe he was talking about his
minor.
music.
No, that's not what that is. Yeah. This all happened at the Super Bowl.
Oh,
This was
I
like a
don't-
week or two ago.
I don't watch that either. It's baseball season now.
Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably a minor. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. Okay. Finish this out.
But that she was still struggling to get it out, to get the pet cage, or maybe she just wanted a house. So we didn't really know where she was. He just said, go check on Mom.
But he told you to go to the red shed.
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Fireham, anything else for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Firegram now?
Tristan, I understand that in the deposition you made an estimate of time of 1 minute and 45 seconds, right?
Yes.
Completely.
Today you told me that you were out of sight of your father for 2 times.
Spiro is a
Getting
fucking
drinks.
legend.
Yes.
And you're saying you don't want to, or you don't think you can estimate how long you would have taken to get a drink?
Yes.
If you were a fish, what
But
kind
you
of
didn't
fish would you be?
fill pails with water, or you didn't wash down the office, you just got a drink?
Yes.
Okay. And the business about going to check on your mom, did that conversation begin when you looked out the window and the pet carrier wasn't up by the shop where you expected it to be?
Yes.
So when you went to look for her, as you just said here a few seconds ago, one of the places you could go look is where the pet carrier was, right?
Yes.
And unfortunately, that's where you found her.
Yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thanks.
Okay. Okay.
Judge, I would just ask that this witness be excused.
Yes. Tristan, we are all finished.
Okay. Boy, you really can't find anything on Craigslist. No, I had a tab open. I was searching for a freezer earlier and accidentally clicked on it, and then I saw they were someone selling breast milk on Craigslist here.
Oh,
Yeah, here, guys.
we don't have Craigslist here.
Really? I wonder why.
Nah.
Yeah, breast milk from Healthy Mom in Scottsdale.
Gross.
Frozen breast milk. She froze it. Have too much in freezer, asking 75 cents per ounce.
Ew. Oh, I bet some man buys it and like bathes in it. Oh, yuck. Ugh.
Sorry, guys. If I saw that, you
Yeah,
had to see
Caleb,
that.
I know it happens. I know people sell their breast milk.
Yeah, I mean, what is she, a milk nurse?
Who on earth would buy random breast milk off Craigslist and then give it to their child? That's the more disturbing part,
Yeah.
right? If you're actually going to give it to your child and you bought it off Craigslist or off the internet at all, like, you'd want to actually see the female pump it out of her tits. And you'd want to know her and her whole medical history and everything about her. Like, you just wouldn't buy it off some rando and then give it to your baby? Like, and you can't tell me that that's better than buying some formula and giving it to a child, right? Like, at least the formula has, like, gone through some checks.
Don't have to worry about hepatitis in it.
Drugs?
Well, she said, oh, no, she says she is cigarettes and alcohol free.
She says.
It's a Craigslist guarantee.
What about fentanyl?
She did not specify that.
She didn't specify that. Well, you didn't ask.
I know, that's on you.
Wow.
Buyer beware. Yeah, I just saw that. I was just like, what the fuck?
Sal's entire life is a fetish.
God damn it, David.
Hey, David. Guys, I'm thinking about doing a Luigi stream tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
What do you think? Yeah, tomorrow. Because his rights are being violated.
They are.
They're trying to kill Luigi.
And he hasn't even been convicted yet.
Well, they're not trying to kill him before he gets convicted. But
True.
also, they did an improper search and seizure in Pennsylvania. And then,
That too.
and they didn't find the gun until later, right? It was they had the backpack in the McDonald's, right? And they went through the backpack even though they didn't have a warrant. And then they took the backpack to the police station, and then they found a gun in there. It's like, how well, like, I'm just an Australian, but I think that guns are pretty easy to find in a backpack.
Well, and we do know they can self-animate and move around and act on their own. So, who knows?
Who knows? Anyway, his lawyer's awesome. I like her.
Yeah.
She's gone and said that if there's no cameras in the courtroom, I'm just going to come out of every single hearing and I'm just going to tell you guys all what happened.
Yeah, I think that'll work once. But okay.
Yeah, how long till there's a gag order?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm sure she wants cameras. It's great for them.
She's pretty badass.
I love all the people who are like, he's not getting a fair trial. You know, there's all this kind of politicians are talking about him. That's never happened before. When has politicians ever said somebody's guilty before they're even convicted? And I reply to this person, have you heard of Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yeah.
Who literally had to have jury instructions crafted saying to disregard the opinions of the presidential candidates in 2021 or 2020. And then when Zach did the trial, Zach's trial, Judge Schroeder brought out the jury instructions for murder. And it had that line in there that they had to remove because it was the next murder trial. He hadn't done any other murder trials.
He hadn't done one
Rittenhouse.
since then.
Nope.
Yeah.
That was his first one since Rittenhouse.
Oh, good old Brucey.
Yeah.
Wonder how he's going.
I won't say anything bad about him, but he's
I will.
Fair.
Senile old bastard.
Senile, yes.
Yep.
But
anyway.
Yeah.
Luigi. It's a Luigi. What's this?
I don't know. Mavka sent it to me.
Darling, at hello on a sunny day. Not twists and verdicts are their getaway. A coffee in hand as the gavel fell. They laugh at lawyers casting spells. Oh, Dolly and hell, the late night crime shows. Aussie and American, they go toe to toe. Justice served on a screen so bright. Together through the dark to morning light. He's got burgers, she's got that accent sweet. Courtroom drama is there.
Go. It could have been worse.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse.
See, Waterfall likes it.
Sure she does. Okay.
I liked
it. It's very emotional.
From LA to Sydney, worlds apart. In those trials they share one. the twists that don't make sense. Holding hands through guilty plea. Two different worlds in perfect harmony. Oh, Dolly and Hella, late night crime show. Aussie and American, they go toe to toe.
Maddie, shut up.
Justice served on a screen so bright. Together through the dark to morning light.
Okay, that'll be the last time we listen to that.
I liked it.
Okay, now. Awesome. Thank you, Mavka. That was crap.
I liked it. I don't know about you. Oh, thank you.
Dear.
All right. So
Dali still needs a song for his channel. Yeah. So we need. Okay. So what I found to work really well with the bands is you write their lyrics for them, because the lyrics that they make up for themselves are usually pretty garbage. Yeah.
can you do lyrics and then have it generate the song from that?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Oh, really? Okay, I've been trying to
Yeah.
do that.
So, you know, it's You Scott You and the Sarah
Yeah.
song. I wrote the lyrics.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
I wrote the lyrics, and I told it what kind of style I wanted, and I told it like where I wanted the chorus and where I wanted it to repeat certain words, and then I did several versions, and then I'd alter the instrumentation a little bit. So yeah, that's how they happened.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to look into
Incorporate Babu. Yeah, the cats need to be in it.
that one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like with the Hello Rock one, that's how I got Seraph into it, and that, you know, if he goes missing, we are sans Seraph, because it
Yeah.
wouldn't have made that up.
Yeah. No, I know you can change the lyrics, but
Oh, you mean that you can change it after it writes them for you?
yeah, or like it.
Yeah. No,
then
you can
change it.
completely start from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to go custom from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're thinking of doing Luigi tomorrow?
Maybe if I can get enough stuff together, because like she did a press conference straight after the last hearing, and there's also some transcript from the last court hearing as well.
Okay.
So do you want to do a
Sure.
transcript reading?
Always.
Yeah. Sweet.
Love those. All right, guys, I'm going to end now. It has been a lot of fun. I will be back tomorrow at 10. And then I'll do some more of this tomorrow at 4:30. And then Hella tomorrow. Hopefully some Luigi.
Oh, also I'm on with Criminality again today. At what time? What time whatever time she was on yesterday.
8 or
8. Yeah. Yeah, was she on at 8 yesterday?
oh,
That
it's
was
already
right.
set up 75 minutes.
Yeah, 75 minutes away. So I won't be on for the whole stream. I have
Yeah.
to teach a class. But yeah, I'll be on with her for an hour or two.
Cool.
So yeah.
I'll redirect y'all over if I can.
Yeah.
I mean, probably doesn't matter, but there we go. Cool.
Cool.
All right, guys, it's been fun. I will see y'all tomorrow.
Bye.
Toodles.